Hey guys, so I'm sure a lot of you saw the post I made on Facebook about me creating a YouTube channel talking about my adoption and my experiences with it and my opinions and my views and my facts and all that stuff. And so here's my first video for it. Now, the first video is going to be about how I found Emma's parents, about how I found out about my pregnancy and all that stuff. I've done interviews and people have read my story that I wrote and submitted it to adoption.net, and they published it. And I had a friend that interviewed me, and she told things throughout the interview that I said and stuff like that, but no one has actually really heard me actually speak it. So this is going to be me speaking it. So first things first, I was not trying to get pregnant. I was only 20, 21. I didn't want a baby. I wasn't ready for a baby. I wasn't trying to get pregnant. It's just something that happened. I had originally went to the doctor because I was having some serious depression and anxiety issues, and I wanted to get some medicine for it. But while I was there, something kept nagging me to do a pregnancy test. So I did a pregnancy test, and it came back positive. And at that moment, I kept asking the nurse, I was like, what do you mean pregnant? And she was like, you're pregnant. And I was like, I'm pregnant? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, were you planning it? And I said, no. And when, she told me congratulations, and she left the room. And when she left the room and I was sitting there, I was in complete shock. I had so many thoughts and emotions going through my head. I didn't want to be a mom right then and there. I wasn't ready to be a mom. Of course, when I found out I was pregnant, adoption honestly was the first thing that popped in my mind. But I remember thinking, so many other single moms do this, that they keep their babies, they raise their babies, why can't I do it? Why should I be any different? So first things first, I had texted the birth father's brother and said, hey, I'm pregnant. Because I tried to call the birth father and he didn't answer. But long story short, mine and the birth father's relationship wasn't a very good one. He was abusive and he was a drunk. He didn't treat me good at all. And when he found out I was pregnant, the relationship got worse. He got more violent and he started drinking more. And every single day, up until my 12-week mark, I kept thinking, I didn't want my first pregnancy to be like this. I was so upset and I was so depressed. And I remember thinking, this isn't how I wanted my first pregnancy. I wanted my first pregnancy to be a good one with a loving husband and someone who I could depend on. And this pregnancy was anything but that. It was just stressful and very painful. And when I hit my 12-week mark, me and the birth father got into an altercation, and he physically abused me pretty bad. And at that moment, I realized I'm not keeping this baby. I'm not staying with this man. I'm leaving. So I called my mom in Texas, and I said, Mom, can I please come out there? And she said she had to think about it because I had done some things in my past that weren't very good. And so she had to know that I was ready for a change and that I was really going to change. So long story short, she said yes. So I packed my things up and I lived in a hotel for 2 weeks until I could drive out to Georgia. And till I could drive out to Texas. And the 2 weeks came and I drove out to Texas. It was really scary coming to Texas because at that moment in time, I knew that I was not keeping my baby. I knew that I was placing my baby. And that was really hard for me. Because as I got further along in my pregnancy and I could feel this baby growing, and I would go to the doctor's appointments and everything, I remember thinking, how I wish things could have been different so I could keep and parent this baby. But going back on my adoption was never an option in my mind. I knew as soon as I came out to Texas that when I got here that adoption was it, and there was no going back and there's no changing my mind. So as soon as I got here, I Googled adoptive parent profiles, LDS, because I am LDS, I'm Mormon, I was raised in the church. I was inactive for many years, hint how I got pregnant. But one thing was for sure is that I knew that I wanted this baby raised in my religion and my gospel. That was a strong factor. There was no doubt about that I wanted this baby raised in the church. And so I Googled adoptive LDS couple profiles. And so my birth order's mixed. At first I was looking for interracial couples, but I couldn't really find one that clicked, that really felt right. And then I came across Ben and Nicole's profile. And funny thing is, I didn't really read their profile. I kind of just skimmed it. There's a lot of details in their profile, but I didn't really read it. I just kind of skimmed it, and I really just looked at their pictures. And I didn't immediately pick them. I mean, I was still looking at other profiles, but theirs was always just, in my mind saying, hey, go back and look at it. And I did, and I emailed them, and I talked to Ben first, and I was like, I'm interested in giving you guys my baby. I was like, my baby's biracial, was that a problem? And they said no, and so we set up a date to meet a month after I contacted them online, and we talked pretty much every single day until the first day that we met. And that first day I was so nervous. I never did this before. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to act. Nervousness and awkwardness, pretty much. And I was sitting at my house. They came to my house, and because they live 3 hours away from me in Dallas, I live towards Houston. So they drove 3 hours away and came down. And I remember sitting on the couch in the living room, and I heard a knock on the door. And I was like, oh God, this is it. I'm possibly meeting the parents that are going to have my baby. And when I opened up the door, there was Ben and Nicole, and Nicole was just smiling so much, and Ben, he's a dude, was, smiling too, but just kind of stayed back. And I remember the first thing Nicole asked me was, can I hug you? And at that point, when she asked me that, and I looked at Ben's face and Nicole's face, I knew at that moment that these were the people that I was going to give my baby to. And just throughout the rest of the visit and throughout the day, we got along so well, and I had such a good sense of peace that this was them. There was no doubt in my mind that I had found the couple to give my child to, and I was very, very happy. Like I said, I felt a lot of peace. I wasn't stressing anymore. It was very good, and it was a very happy day. Now, since I found them so early, it's like 13 weeks at that time, I had pretty much my whole pregnancy to get to know them. And we did visits every couple months, and we talked every single day. She even came to some of the baby's doctor's appointments with me. And then, I found out I was having a girl. Which, funny thing, but I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but I did not want a girl. I felt like if I had a girl, that there was going to be more attachment to this baby, and I didn't want any more attachment to this baby than I already had. And I remember when the doctor told me I was having a girl, I was trying so hard not to cry because I was not happy. I did not want a girl. I remember leaving the doctor's office, and I called my mom crying on the phone. I'm having a girl. I don't want a girl. I was bawling my eyes out. I did not want a girl because reality really set in. I'm having a daughter. I'm having a daughter, and I'm not keeping her. It was really, really hard for me. Very, very emotional. Ben and Nicole, they were so happy. And they said they knew it was going to be a girl, which I had a feeling it was going to be a girl too. I just didn't want to admit it because I didn't want a girl. But now that, she's out and everything, I'm happy it's a girl. But long story short, 9 months pass by. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with contractions. I go to the hospital. I'm at 4 centimeters. I text Nicole saying, hey, it's time. I'm at the hospital. I'm going into labor. And, you know, they pack up their things and they get there probably about 20 minutes before I actually have to push. Now, they weren't in the room when I had Emma. That was a moment that I wanted to have to myself. You know, I didn't want to feel like we had to share that moment the first time that we both got to see Emma. I felt like we each needed to have our own personal time with the first meeting of the child. And so they weren't in a room. It was just me and my mom. And I remember when she finally was out, I could hear her crying, and I was just, my heart literally broke in half. Because I saw this beautiful baby that I had just given birth to. And I knew that this baby wasn't mine. And I knew I wasn't going home with this baby. It was really, really hard. I was scared to hold her because she was so tiny. I remember after my mom had left and the doctors had left, and it was just me sitting in the room, and Emma was under one of those heat things or whatever. They were taking her measurements and stuff, and the doctors and the nurses, my mom had left for a couple of minutes. I remember being in there alone, looking over at her, and I was just so upset. My heart was broken, but I was willing to break my own heart to make sure that Emma had what she needed, because I couldn't provide what she needed. I couldn't be a single mom. I didn't want to be a single mom. I didn't want her to be raised by one parent. I wanted her to have a mother and a father, and I wanted her to have a good, stable environment. And these were things that I could not provide her. These were things I could not give her. And not her too. You know, knowing that I put myself in this situation to where I couldn't provide for this child. But, anyways, and then after I had like 2 or 3 hours with Emma by myself, and Nicole finally came in. And, you could tell they were really, really nervous. And they were so cute, and they were so happy. The look on Nicole's face when she got to hold Emma is something that I will never forget. It was pure joy and gratefulness and happiness, and she just portrayed it, and it was awesome. And I stayed 2 days in the hospital. I kept Emma during the days, and I let Ben and Nicole have her at night so I could rest. And finally the day came for me to leave the hospital and to sign my parental rights over. You know, at the time, looking back on it now, I was pretty calm. I didn't cry. I wasn't upset. And I feel like I was trying to be strong. I didn't want to show emotion. I didn't want to look upset. Why? I don't know, you know. Normally, birth moms are crying their eyes out, you know. Me, I didn't really show any emotion. I was just like, tell me where to sign. And I signed. But Nicole, she was bawling her eyes out. I think part of it was because she was sad for me, because she knew what I was giving up. And I know a lot of it was she was grateful. She was just so grateful that she finally had the chance to be a mother, that I would give her my baby. She was just so grateful and so humbled by it. And I signed my rights over, and about 30 minutes later, the doctors came in, and, you know, they're like, hey, it's time to leave and stuff. So we put Emma in her little car seat, and they put me in a wheelchair, and I had Emma in my lap in the car seat while we were leaving. You know, we got out to the hospital, And I was trying to be way too strong. I didn't show any emotion. I was like numb. But in my mind and in my heart, I was breaking. I was screaming. Giving Ben and Nicole Emma and watching them put her in the car. It really hit me that I was going home empty. I had carried this baby for 9 months. I had loved on this baby for 9 months. But I had also prepared myself for this day because I knew it was coming. I didn't know how hard it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to handle it. And like I said, I didn't really show any emotion. But as I watched Ben and Nicole drive away and I got in the car with my mom, I just started crying. Half of it was because she was gone. I was going home with nothing. I did not have her anymore. Emma was not mine anymore. And another part of it was, I was also so happy about how happy Ben and Nicole were. They deserved to be parents. They deserved Emma. Emma was always meant to be theirs. Nicole couldn't have kids, and I do believe that God blessed me with Emma, knowing that I would make the right decision, that Emma was supposed to be with Ben and Nicole. They were just so happy. I could just see it in their face. And when I was hugging Nicole to leave the hospital, and she just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I kept telling her, thank you for doing this. The whole pregnancy and the hospital stay was very emotional. I don't regret anything. I wouldn't change anything. I'm very happy that I did my open adoption. There really isn't anything I would change during my pregnancy or during my hospital stay. Ben and Nicole were very supportive. They were always supportive. And I couldn't imagine how hard it could be for them, because I could have changed my mind at any second and been like, hey, I'm not doing this. And they had her room ready, the nursery, the crib, the paintings, everything was ready. And I could have easily changed my mind and been like, hey, I'm going to keep my baby, I'm going to parent. So I couldn't imagine the emotional road it was for them as well. But, so that is the video of kind of a fast version of my thinking process and why I decided to adopt. If I loved Emma any less, I would have chose to parent. It is because that I do love her so much that I did an open adoption. It would have been very selfish of me to keep her, knowing I could not give her the life that she deserved. And it would have been wrong. It would have been very selfish of me. I had to break my own heart to make sure Emma had the best life. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay. I have my days. I have my good days. I have my bad days. Me, Ben, and Nicole, we have never done an open adoption before. We did our research and we've talked to other people. But to actually experience it is something completely different. We didn't know what we're doing. We still don't know what we're doing. We're still learning as we go. Every day is learning something new. But I'm happy with my decision. I would not change my decision. Sometimes I think, what if I would have kept her? When I think about if I would have kept her, it actually kind of stresses me out, thinking how I would work and go to school and take care of a baby and who would watch her and how would I pay for this and how would I pay for that. It actually really stresses me out just thinking about it, so I couldn't imagine actually living it. So I love my open adoption. I wouldn't change anything about it. We have our ups, we have our downs. We have our challenges, but me, Ben, and Nicole, we stand by each other, we communicate, and we love each other. And Emma's happy. She's a happy little baby. And I know if I would have parented her, she would not have been this happy. You know, she's such a sweet spirit, such a sweet little baby. And her happiness truly does come from her environment and from her parents. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so blessed to have found Ben and Nicole. I don't know what I would have done if I wouldn't have found them. I'm so grateful for them. So this is my first video on that. I'll be doing a second video. I'm not quite sure on what, just kind of whatever comes to my mind and whatever I feel compelled to talk about. So anyone who watches this and anyone who shares this, awesome. But this is kind of a way for me to get all these thoughts and feelings out of my head and out in video. So that's it.